and we're live also on YouTube.
Excuse me. Oh. The last presentation, the puppy I had adopted was like this big. I was trying to lift him up to show you that he's not like this, but he wouldn't let me do it. I'm in the lion's den. Come here, Flea.
Oh my gosh. You should see all the puppies at the Underdog Rescue. They have like 20 puppies from two different litters, are all reservation dogs.
Yeah. There was a litter that just came in from the Wind River. It was 13 pups in one litter. Oh. And then we were walking around downtown with Dave's mom, and I was like, Dave, that's one of the puppies. And so we met one of them. This thing was so cute. It was like a tall boy size, and was like pawing up on Dave's leg and then just fully tipped over.
Hilarious.
That was so cute. His mom's like, how do you know that dog? I'm like, I look at the adoption center page a lot.
I know, me too. I keep threatening we're going to get a lilac colored French pit bull or French bulldog. Scout's like, that's not happening.
That's awesome.
Okay, I think we can slowly begin. So, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. My name is Maya. I'm part of the 57 Hours team, and I'm in charge of delivering great webinars such as this one today. If this is your first time hearing of us, we are an online platform that connects people with certified guides for outdoor adventures. And today we are presenting yet another one of our epic adventure webinars, this time in partnership with Alpinist and the Mountain Guides. In a moment, I will turn things over to our hosts. They will tell you a little bit about climbing camps they're hosting this fall and next spring and summer as part of the Women Network. These camps are happening in great rock venues, Moab, Colorado, Red Rock, and City of Rocks. And shortly you'll learn about what makes these locations a prime spot for these camps and what you can learn from a camp like this. So I wanted to take a second to mention that everybody that registered today is entered into a giveaway. Alpinist Magazine has generously donated one of their one-year subscriptions and will notify the winner tomorrow by email. So please use the chat, connect with one another, and we'll also have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar where you can ask anything you want. So please ask your questions. You can use the Q&A section of Zoom, which is on the bottom of your screen. You will see a little icon. Leave your questions there and we will collect them so our hosts can answer them after the presentation. So let's get started with the reason why we are here. I'll let each host tell you a little bit about themselves, but I wanted to say thank you to the hosts for joining us. These women have a wealth of knowledge about climbing. We are lucky that they're here joining us today. So without further ado, I will present each host and give you a little bit of their background, and they will get into the locations that they will cover today. I believe first up is Izzy Lazarus.
Am I introducing myself?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I thought you were. I'm Izzy. I'm coming in from Jackson, Wyoming, where I live and work year-round, mostly. Certified single pitch instructor, as well as an assistant rock guide and apprentice ski and alpine guide. If I'm not guiding in the Tetons in the summer and winter, I'm traveling around the U.S., mostly Western U.S., guide in Moab a bit, guide in the City of Rocks, and then I also work on Mount Hood in the spring. So I'm kind of everywhere and anywhere, just trying to have fun and take people outside.
Great. And then we have Jess Worley.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jess. My pronouns are she, hers. And I'm based out of Boulder, Colorado, and I guide out here in El Dorado Canyon, Boulder Canyon, Rocky Mountain National Park, and Lumpy Ridge. And I'm an apprentice rock guide, an apprentice alpine guide, and a single pitch instructor. And I also just finished my master's in social work, so I'm also working as a clinical therapist and eventually hoping to meld the worlds of rock guiding and therapy, because I think climbing is such a cool venue for learning about ourselves.
And Szu-ting.
Hi, my name is Szu-ting, and I'm originally from Taiwan, but I have lived in the States since 1998. I'm a certified AMGA certified rock guide. Been living full time in Las Vegas for almost 3 years now. Really enjoying Red Rock outside of Las Vegas. So welcome, maybe in the fall. We'll see you.
And Aimee Barnes.
Hi, everyone. My name's Aimee Barnes. I'm an AMGA certified rock guide. I've been guiding since 1985, and I've had the opportunity to work under all the amazing permits that the Jackson Hole Mountain Guides offers through City of Rocks, Las Vegas, guiding in the Grand Teton. And my favorite kind of home area to guide right now is definitely the City of Rocks, where I grew up in Idaho. So thanks for joining us for this presentation, and hope to get out on the rock with you.
Thank you, ladies. So before I turn things over to Izzy, I'd just like to give you a brief rundown of what we'll be covering today. Each guide is going to give you a little bit of background of these areas and the camps they're holding. So we're going to cover the Women's Crag Climbing Weekend in Moab. Just a second. Then following Colorado Cragging Camps, then we will have Women's Climbing Weekend in Red Rock, and last City of Rocks. In the end, we will have Q&A section where you can ask everything that you want to our host today. So without further ado, Izzy, the stage is yours.
Here is my stage. Alrighty, I'm super excited to be talking to everybody about climbing in Moab, Utah. Well, I don't live there. I might as well. I'm there a lot, pretty much anytime the weather is under 85 degrees. I've come back there every spring and fall since 2014, I think, and plan to do so for a long time. And there's a reason. It's super special. We're looking at a photo of the La Salle Mountains, which are the backdrop to Moab. And it just goes alpine mountains, desert landscape, and boom, you're in town. One of the things that makes Moab a really great climbing destination, where you can spend a lot of time, not just 2-3 days, is the ease of access, whether it's to grocery stores, hotels, camping. Being there, it feels like you can kind of just move yourself to Moab for however long you're there. It's pretty easy to spend a lot of time, and it's beautiful. As far as a climbing destination, Moab is such an awesome spot because you have everything from roadside cragging, which is what we're looking at here. This is a photo of the Wall Street area. It's a 5-minute drive out of town. You can belay pretty much from your car. And so you can have that kind of experience, or you can walk way out into the desert and find some pretty wild adventure climbing. Adjacent to Moab, the city, if you came there for just a rock climbing trip, you could do that. Or you can spend a ton of time there, whether it's visiting national parks like Arches, which is the photo we're looking at. This is the Delicate Arch looking out to the La Salle Mountains. You can visit Arches, Canyonlands. There's tons of public land all around Moab. You can go hiking, rafting, mountain biking, canyoneering, ATVing. It's kind of this adventure mecca. So there's tons of things to do around these women's climbing camps that we're going to host. So if you want to spend a couple days on either side, with or without a guide, there's tons of options, whether it's just sightseeing or more adventure-oriented activities. When we get into the meat of climbing in the Moab area, there's a couple things that make it really special and unique to other places in the Western United States. The most enigmatic features around Moab are these towers. So we have Castleton Tower, which looks just this pinnacle shooting out of the earth about an hour outside of Moab. And adjacent to it, we have the Fisher Towers area, which holds this tower ancient art, which who knows how much longer it'll be there. So you should go climb it. And then we have these laser cut crack climbing venues like Indian Creek and the canyons outside of Moab. You might have crack climbed around the country in other places, but Utah, the Moab area, is really the place to develop your crack climbing skills, because there are cracks that are, just a few millimeters wide, ranging to your entire body length stretched out. So you can spend a couple days, weeks of your life perfecting the art of crack climbing in this venue that's really convenient. We have tons of single pitch crack climbs as well as multi-pitch crack climbing venues. And it's just, there's no other place to develop a skill like this, because you could be at a crag that has all of those sizes. So you can spend the morning working on finger crack climbing and then spend the afternoon working on your wide climbing technique. And it's all right there in this tidy little package. There are some tick list kind of climbs like this one here. The Super Crack of the Desert is one of the first really famous climbs in the Indian Creek area. It's 100+ feet of a 3-inch crack. If you're on the tighter side, it might eat your arm, like this photo of Lisa. It's just really special. You can see there's nothing but the crack to hold on to. And so you don't get to, no cheating here. You got to learn how to crack climb. And the scenery is just really epic. If you're zoned in on what you're doing, you're in this 3-inch crack for 100 feet, and then you turn out and then you're in this amazing desert landscape. It feels endless, and it really is. And to me, it's a home away from home. And so I hope that you all visit this place and figure out how special it is as well. So over the fall and spring, we're going to host a variety of women's camps. We're going to have a women's basic camp, which is going to be for the never ever rock climbed to have climbed a bit, maybe indoors or outdoors. You want to build the fundamentals of climbing outside, climbing movement, desert climbing skills. And then we'll have a women's advanced camp, which is progressing on those techniques. So if you've got quite a bit of experience climbing outside, but you've never climbed in the desert, or you want to learn multi-pitch technique, this is a great thing. And we're also going to have a women's tower climbing weekend as well. So I think the climbing in Moab at first sight, you know, you've got these spindly little towers or just really steep crack climbs. It can feel really intimidating, but Moab really does have a climb for everybody. Like we have low angle, more slabby climbs that are an easier way to learn crack climbing technique. And so there's something for everybody there. And we're always going to start on the ground. So you might be like, oh my gosh, I have no idea how to get up there, but we're going to make sure that we're all on the same page with skills. We'll do a ground school for all of these camps. We'll make sure that we have the communication down pat and answer any questions before we're shouting 100 feet away from each other. Most of the climbing around the Moab area is traditional climbing. So we're going to talk a lot about how to use the gear, both mechanically, but also how to look at a guidebook and how to look up at a climb and decide, what do I need to put on my harness? You know, the desert climbing is funny in that way, where you might need 8 pieces of the same size, which doesn't happen in many other places. So we'll talk about how to select gear and how to place it appropriately. We'll talk a lot about belaying, holding the rope, both in a top rope setting, and then how to belay the leader safely, which is foundational to multi-pitch climbing. And then we'll probably spend endless hours talking about movement, because there's everything here. There's stemming your whole body to span 2 distances. There's finger cracks, hand cracks, everything. And so we'll talk about how to switch fluidly between those techniques. Some other skills that are particular to the desert are building or wearing crack climbing gloves. The desert sandstone is a really fine grain, and so over time it's like sandpaper on your hands. And with good technique, you can get away without protecting the back of your hands, but especially as you're learning, it can be really helpful to protect the back of your hands for longevity. So we can use tape gloves or pre-made rubberized crack gloves that are on the market now. And we'll experience desert grunting. This is a friend of mine, Betsy, on the Abraxas Tower. And I think she was mostly having a good time. She put on a good smile, but there's definitely some noises echoing through the chimney, which is all part of it. Like the desert is such a funny place in that way. It's like, kind of hate it, kind of love it. It'll beat you down. And then at the end of the day, you feel super fulfilled because you're in this truly wild place and climbing immaculate rock with good people. It doesn't really get better than that. Lots of gear, lots of red rock, pretty amazing. As we move into the more advanced skills like multi-pitch transitions, you know, we'll spend a lot of time talking about best practices, how to keep things fluid, and that's definitely a higher level piece of education, but you can use it forever. Moab is great because you can build these foundational skills in areas like Indian Creek, which is a lot of single pitch climbing, or Wall Street, and then take it to these really adventurous places and get high off the ground. So the photo on the left is on Castleton Tower. And then the photo on the right is on a route called Terma, which is right off, you're looking down on the Colorado River, really beautiful place. Climb up this talus field, and then all of a sudden you're on this beautiful 3-pitch climb off the desert floor. Ultimately, we're going to have a really good time because we're going to be in this place climbing with amazing ladies, and all the guides and instructors that work down in Moab have spent a lot of time there and hold a really deep connection to it. So you'll get all the tidbits that the guidebook can't tell you. So hopefully you all can make it to a camp or two, whether it's this autumn or in the spring, and we hope to see you there. I'm going to pass it to Jess.
Okay, thanks, Izzy.
Okay, let's see. All right, hi everyone, I'm Jess again, and coming at you from Boulder, Colorado. So I'm going to talk a bit about our women's Gym to Crag camps and our women's multi-pitch meetup camps out here in Colorado. And being on the Front Range, being based out of Boulder is such a cool opportunity because within a 5-minute drive to an hour-and-a-half drive, you're within 4 of these absolutely classic world-class climbing destinations. And I think that's really, really unique because you can come back to Boulder and go out to the breweries and walk around Pearl Street at night and then be completely away from the city and have this really cool wilderness experience on perfect rock. So I'm going to start by talking about El Dorado Canyon. And I'm biased. This is definitely my absolute favorite climbing destination, probably in the world. It's really, really special because it has a bit of everything. It's traditional climbing, and there's some great single pitch, but also climbs up to 700 feet tall, so up to 8 pitches. And it has a really wide variety of climbing styles too. You have some technical face climbing, as well as cracks, lots of stemming on this really cool textured sandstone. So in either of the camps, both the women's Gym to Crag camps and the multi-pitch meetups, we'll be doing at least one of our days at Eldo. So we'll have some opportunities for ground school where we're learning about our gear and rope management and practicing a lot of the skills in a flat terrain before we take those up high on the wall. So El Dorado Canyon has a lot of really great opportunities for being in flat terrain and then moving on to 3rd and 4th class terrain to practice some of these skills and then eventually putting them into full use in a multi-pitch or a single pitch vertical environment. So El Dorado Canyon has so many amazing climbs. And I think one thing that's really cool about it is the approaches. The longest approach here is about 45 minutes, but there are also climbs like this one on the left, March of Dimes, that are literally like 15 feet from the parking area. So you're getting a lot of bang for your buck in terms that you're really spending the entire day climbing rather than walking a long ways to approach these climbs. And I included both of these climbs in here because, like Izzy was talking about with the hand cracks, El Dorado Canyon is certainly not the same splitter sandstone, but we do have a lot of awesome cracks as well. And both of these climbs, I think, have some of the best finger cracks and hand cracks in the park. And this climb on the left, it's kind of fun because you'll look down and there's a bunch of people walking below you, hikers. You're just right off the road. So it's literally a 30-second approach from your car and you're already on this 500-foot face. So it's pretty special. And this is one of the just ultimate classics, Yellow Spur. And this is the last pitch. So a lot of really cool exposure. And as you're walking along this arête, you can see the entire Front Range. So everywhere from Colorado Springs, you can see Pikes Peak, all the way to Denver and over to Boulder. So it's really special because you feel like you're in this secluded wilderness environment, but you peek over and you see the entire city. It's pretty awesome. Both of these pictures are from the Bastille Crack, which is one of the just ultimate classics at El Dorado Canyon. And this is from one of our multi-pitch meetup camps this past fall. And this is a really fun climb. It has a variety of styles, it has crack climbing, hand cracks, finger cracks, and also some really delicate face movement. And this is probably one of my favorite climbs here. It's called Rewritten. And you can see just absolute smiles on the left. It's just so much fun the entire time. and you get some really, really cool exposure, getting up high and having really secure handholds, but also these awesome drop-offs below you where you just get great views and feel really, really exposed. So one thing I like to tell folks about Eldo is it kind of has a reputation for being a hard climbing area. So even when you see some of these ratings are like 5.6, 5.8, it definitely doesn't feel like maybe a 5.6 that you're climbing in the gym. I have to say a lot of the El Dorado climbs, they're pretty sandbagged, which means just they feel harder than the grade. And it's kind of a cool place to come climb because once you've been there, you really get a good sense of outdoor climbing grades. And when you go other places, things might feel a little easier. So it's kind of a nice way to get into the outdoor climbing because it's going to be tough here, but also just a good place to cut your teeth. So I also want to talk about Boulder Canyon. And this is a really, really cool crag. It's the first crag in Boulder Canyon is just 5 minutes outside of Boulder City. And there's everything here. We have sport climbing, multi-pitch trad climbing, single pitch trad, and everything here from techie faces to hand cracks. So this is somewhere where we'll definitely be going in our gym to crag clinics. And it has some really great terrain for practicing those single pitch environment skills, some really great environments for learning how to rappel, doing ground school, and getting used to a single pitch environment. So here's some ladies in one of our clinics this past fall. And this is an area where we were learning how to rappel. It also has great environments for ground school. So here we're practicing learning some of these skills in that flat environment before we take them up on the rock. And once again, just here on the left, some folks who have been learning how to belay and putting that into practice on the last day. And then on the right, learning how to rappel. And then lastly, I wanted to touch on Lumpy Ridge. And Lumpy Ridge is part of Rocky Mountain National Park. And it's absolutely beautiful. It's a granite climbing area and it's all traditional climbing. But in the back, you can see Long's Peak and some of the other high peaks of Rocky Mountain National Park. And this is an area that we'll be going during our women's multi-pitch clinics. It's nice to have a day in El Dorado Canyon and in Lumpy because they're very different styles of climbing and different types of rock. So you get a sense of a variety of styles. And Lumpy Ridge is really, really great. It has a lot of cracks, a lot of flaring cracks, and a really different style. It's all granite, so a bit smoother, but kind of nice to test out your new techniques here. We'll usually go here on the second day. And these are some pictures of Pear Buttress, and I like to include this because I happen to agree with him. This is an awesome climb, but Tommy Caldwell says that this is his favorite 5.8 in the entire country. So pretty high praise for Pear Buttress. So for the women's weekend camps, as I mentioned, we have Gym to Crag and multi-pitch women's multi-pitch meetup. So in the Gym to Crag, we had women who had never ever touched rock outside before, as well as women who'd done a few days outside but wanted to build those skills. And during the Gym to Crag, we'll be learning about completing thorough safety checks, belaying with multiple devices, so ATCs and GRIGRIs, learning how to tie in and check your partner. We'll be learning about racking gear, as well as removing gear, learning how to rappel, learning how to assess different anchors and also clean anchors, and then gaining an understanding of climbing movement as it relates to outdoor climbing, because it's quite different route finding and finding different holds in an outside environment versus the gym where we have these color-coded routes. And then for the women's multi-pitch meetup, these past clinics, we had women who had followed a few times in a multi-pitch environment and women who had never ever been multi-pitch climbing before. And both of those skill sets are completely appropriate. So in the multi-pitch meetup, we were covering different multi-pitch techniques like communicating, so learning what the different commands are for multi-pitch climbing, removing gear from the rock and racking it on your harness, breaking down anchors, how to belay from above, rope management, assessing anchors, and building anchors. And we also covered descent techniques such as rappelling. And then we went over different mock scenarios in vertical terrain and had a lot of time just on real multi-pitch climbs and getting experience, just going over the commands and the transitions in the multi-pitch environment. Oops. Sorry, my technology skills are failing me here. Okay. Yeah, so these camps will be happening this October as well as in the coming spring. And the October camps are coming up pretty fast. So if this is something you're interested in, we definitely suggest reaching out. Feel free to ask us any questions that we'd really love to see you either this fall or this spring. And I will pass this on to Szu-ting.
Hi, Szu-ting here again, and I also goes by Ting, which is my nickname since childhood. So I didn't make it up for Americans to pronounce my name well. So I'm here in Vegas. I would like to introduce Red Rock to you. And Red Rock is right outside of Las Vegas. It's about like 20 to 30 minute drive on the strip. It's super close. And I do know that Vegas has its name of a Sin City, but I think it's really cool that right, we have like the combo of the convenience of city and the greatness of the wilderness all together. Because I grew up in a city, I know how annoying a city can be, but also how cool a city can be. I know when you come to Red Rock, be sure to check their city library. It's really cool. And so it's kind of nice that, so you drive from the strip to the west, that you can immediately see this cool view of Red Rock. You're like, whoa, look at that mountain. It's like so cool and just out of nowhere. You don't even know that you're in the city until when the night, the kind of the life on the casino is kind of annoying. And then, but then if you want to get away from that, you can go really deep into the canyons. We have like more than 10 canyons. You can go really deep and you're like, woo, where am I? And things can, well, if you are not very careful, things can go wrong. You might have to stay the night there. Good thing is like, it's pretty warm here, so usually nothing really bad would happen if that happens. But obviously, if you take our clinic, we would teach you not to be able to do that. And so in Red Rock, we have more than probably 3,000 record routes from like single pitch, from bouldering, single pitch, stuff, sport, and track to like multi-pitch. So you can spend, an early morning or like late afternoon, a few hours to go just quick sport climbing run. Or you can just pack a light backpack and then go like scrambling. There's a huge group of people, a lot of group of people scrambling in Red Rock. They enjoy, appreciate this different rock formation and geology. Is really beautiful. But most people, just like me, I started climbing in Red Rock probably since 2008. And I kept coming back because there's just so many things to do. And I remember that I spent a lot of time coming to Red Rock to do a lot of like multi-pitches. I think a lot of people cut their teeth on long multi-pitch in Red Rock because we have a lot of long routes. It's like reasonably great, like from say 5.6 to 5.10. They're like endless choices. And one thing I learned is about Red Rock, about those multi-pitch routes, it's like it actually really look like improbable. But if you give it some face, you're like, oh my God, this is within my ability level. There's got to be some hole there. You know, you give it face. You don't even have to gamble. There's something there. So so you just reach up. You're like, oh my gosh, thank God it's the jug. And you like feel so good. No wonder that you can go up. But so this one, so I'm just gonna showcase. There's just so many like classic multi-pitch here. I'm just gonna showcase a few. So this one's Armatron, and I really like this dark rock. This is the best. And this one is like this pitch is 5.6. Doesn't look like it, but it climbs really well. You know, holds you out one after another. And this one, very classic. It's called Birdland, and this is the last pitch. Look at that thin finger crack, like super thin. When you were like looking the bottom, you look out, it's like, no way, Ting Ting, you want me to climb this? I was like, don't worry, you got this. And then they go out, it's like, whew, looking down, so like incredible, like I don't know how many feet, I forgot how many feet off the ground. Just like, wow, I did this, you know, I'm so proud of myself. And then the next, yeah, this one. Oh, this one. I really love this one too. It's because you go there, you see this huge overhanging roof. You're like, huh, it's beautiful, but will I do that? Oh yeah, like, and then it just like go up there. It's like this climb is feeling so good. Rock is smooth, and then you're like, I'm underneath this roof. You know, I really appreciate. And like the frogs was like making like noise down there, like music. And this one called the Frogland, and this pitch is this airy traverse. And you just like, you know, if you believe in it, yeah, if you believe in it, you don't even need to gamble. That's right. Then, you know, host gonna show up, you traverse, and like, whew, it's so exposed. But I did it. It's just like people just love this kind of adventure because they know that Red Rock is gonna give them that. And there's also some shorter multi-pitches that are really cool. Like this one is a 2-pitch route by doesn't it look like Moab too? So Red Rock actually have a lot of like a little of everything. We have face climbing, we have a little bit crack climbing. Well, I have to say now it's continuous as Moab, but we do have some. Yeah, and so a little thing for you to know about Red Rock is, well, since we obviously, if you want to camp, there's a campground right outside of Red Rock. But I believe nowadays a lot of people, they're trying to score, like say if you come in weekdays, you can get like pretty cheap hotel deal. And then if you have a small group, usually Airbnb is really great, even though I mean, especially if you want to cook. But let me tell you, like Vegas has very great Asian food. That's another thing, you know, Asian food is very good, as you can see. And so I suggest you check out the restaurant scene. And I think from last year, so the Red Rock, we have the scenic blue road that you have to enter the toll booth from October 1st to I think the end of May. If you want to go in, so you can use National Park Pass or Red Rock Pass to go in. But right from October 1st to the end of May, if you want to go in before 8 o'clock, you do have to make the so-called time entry pass. You can get that from the website recreational.gov. So that's something you need to look out for because they want to reduce the crowd. So if you go in before 8 a.m., don't worry about it. But if you do it after 8 a.m., you have to make a reservation. So about our camps, there's fall. So we have two. So we have intro to outdoor, and then we have sport leading and multi-pitch. So for intro to outdoor is suitable for people have maybe a little bit, but not much outdoor experience, or people who have climbed in the gym, but who has never climbed outside before. So we certainly will cover a lot of like skills like knots and like belaying, and a little bit talking about what's different between the outside environment and the gym environment. One thing I found is like for people who are who challenge people is outside, you have to find your own holds. So we'll teach a little bit about like route finding and route reading, and also we'll do a lot of climbing. So you will learn a lot of movement skills. And then once we get it all down, and then we will see, we can, because it's a small group, we can tailor to people. If people want to learn a little bit more stuff like rappelling or like cleaning anchor, we certainly will add that in too. And for the sport leading and multi-pitching, is like, because a lot of people eventually they want to do multi-pitching on their own. So, and I found that since right now, it seems like climbing gym is everywhere. So it's actually pretty nice to breaking this from sport climbing, because you can also practice all the skills in the gym. So we were, and then Red Rock has very accessible sport routes and some shorter multi-pitch multi-pitch route. So we will do sport leading and multi-pitch. So we get, obviously we teach you all the basic of the gear, you know, how to use, how to clip the rope, how to be safe when you lead. And then depends on the progression, we'll put you on, well, first we'll mark leads, and potentially we'll really put you on the sharp end. And then we will advance to introduce the basic and multi-pitch procedure, how to work with your team partner, and then how to build anchor, belaying your follower, and then do all the transition efficiently. And so showcase some photos. Uh-oh. My button is not working. Oh, yeah, thank God. So this is like one of our past women camp. It's just kind of nice. Yeah, I have to tell you that when I climb, like in my early climbing year, I hung out with a lot of guys, and it's just really a very pleasant, nice to have like all like-minded people to climb together, enjoying the day, and doesn't have to like think about other things, just focus on climbing. And so for obviously for intro to outdoor, so we will try to put you on like a lot of different type of rock, different type of like climbing styles. So there will be like a little bit like mix like face climbing, and then crag climbing and stuff. See this crag climbing, and also we would teach you a little bit rope work too. I found that rope work is kind of like a lost art, but it's kind of important to take care of our rope, because I like to say when there's a rope, there's a hope. So I like to have my rope pretty well taken care of. And so, and then for the next sport, we want to like introduce people to multi-pitching. It's like, this is one of the multi-pitch that we do. And then obviously some sport climbing leading techniques. So these are dates for the fall. We will also have camps in the spring, but we just haven't decided the dates yet. So just, you know, follow us, and then we will let you know when that happens. So for this fall, the intro to outdoor is October 16 to 17, which is coming up. And this type camp fill out quickly. So, you know, book your spot. And for the sport leading and multi-pitch is gonna be November 6th to 7th. So I hope to see you in Red Rock. Say and come to me, you know, I will take you up to enjoying the beautiful scenery of Red Rock. So Now I'm gonna pass this torch to Aimee for City of Rocks.
Am I in?
And not yet.
Ah, what did I do?
Okay. You need to first share your screen.
There we go.
That's
Hi,
it.
hi everyone. I'm Aimee Barnes, and I'm going to share with you a very special place that I grew up climbing at. I started climbing in the 80s, and I started climbing at the City of Rocks. And this little place, this area is very special. It's a granite climbing area. And unlike Moab and Colorado and Red Rock, the largest town has an occupancy of 158 residents. So when you come to climb at the City of Rocks, it's very much out in the backcountry. And our camp is a 2.5-day camp here. And we will be camping out and providing camping and 2 dinners for everyone. So, and this beautiful spire is called the Morning Glory Spire, and it's just one of the many incredible features there that show the mix between crack climbing and bolted sport climbing there. Very, very close to the City of Rocks is another area that was developed just a little bit later called Castle Rocks. And this is an example of the beautiful granite that you'll be climbing when you go over to the Castle Rocks, which is at 4,000 feet. And the City of Rocks is at 7,000 feet. So it's a really great mix between high alpine desert and then lower desert. The first inhabitants of the area were the Shoshone-Bannock people. And during the 1800s, mid-1800s, the immigrants came through this area on the California-Oregon Trail. And why this area is special is that all of these iconic rocks that we all love to climb today were actually landmarks for these immigrants to pass through on their way to Oregon. Early history climbing in this area were with Greg and Jeff Lowe during the 50s with the Steinfeld Club. The routes that were put up early on in this area are known for being very run out, traditional, being put in from the ground up. I've had so many people say to me, oh my gosh, thank goodness I have a guide here, because I don't think I could just run it out 25, 30 feet to that first bolt to get this route up. So it's nice to be able to jump on some of these traditional climbs that have a little bit of spice to them, but are just really beautiful climbs once you get past that first bolt, and you get to use all the amazing features that are on the granite. For the women's weekends camp, we're gonna run 2 different camps. We'll run a basic camp and we'll run an advanced camp. The basic camp is definitely for people who are new to outdoor climbing. And so we will go over all of those basic skills that are listed on the list. And we'll also get you on a bunch of climbs. So know that you'll walk away with sore fingers and a lot of information under your belt so that you can become a better partner, and also know who your partners are that you're climbing with. Are they sketchy? For the advanced camp, we will be definitely working on mock leading and leading. And so this advanced camp is for ladies who have had some experience outside, but they're just trying to take it to that next level where maybe they're going to start becoming a lead climber or a better second partner, and you're learning how to get on and off of climbs and learning how to do transitions at the anchors. And definitely we put up much harder routes so that you can work on your movement skills and become practice in harder climbing techniques with crack climbing and face climbing. The city is just a big, huge granite batholith with multiple spires and outcroppings of rock. And it's just a really beautiful place to enjoy the sunrise and a cup of coffee. We like to implement all different types of belay techniques during these camps. We want to make sure that everyone is proficient with whatever device they're using, be it a plaquette or a gree-gree. We want to make sure that everyone is proficient with belaying a top rope climber when they leave, belaying a lead climber. And if you're in one of the advanced courses, you will learn to belay from above, bringing a climber up to you from an anchor. I have to also agree with Szu-ting in that rope skills are kind of a lost art, and I'm a firm believer in having the right rope for the right job and learning how to manage your ropes and learning how to be a good partner by managing those ropes. This is a photo on top of Steinfeld's Dome, which is about a 500-foot route. And you can see you're out up on top overlooking the entire rural Idaho landscape down below. Another thing in the advanced clinic that we're going to be working on is we'll be working on transitions at the anchor and how to be a responsible climber when you're rappelling down on top of people. We'll go over saddlebagging and not just tossing the rope down on top of people, and how to be able to use your belay block, extensions, pre-rigging, some skills that maybe you've kind of seen in action, but haven't really had a hands-on. And it's definitely a perfect environment for learning these types of skills. This is a picture of a longtime friend of mine, Diane, and it's just a really beautiful picture of how featured the granite is and just what a great area it is to climb. And you can see the rope to the right. You can see that the climbs are pretty stacked. So when we go and climb in one area, we can get a lot of climbing in. You can get anywhere from 4 to 10 pitches in a day, depending on how you feel. This is a picture of Betsy and Izzy. We're out at the Castle Rocks, and there's been some new route development out there. And this is just one of the many new moderate multi-pitches out there that's really fun and really beautiful and really featured. And if you choose to add a multi-pitch day on, this is definitely one of the routes that's an option for that. This is Big Time. It's the classic out on Castle Rock. Castle Rock is about 400 feet tall, and Big Time is the classic 5/8 that goes to the summit. And it's just really a fun place to hang out on a belay ledge and chat with your partner and enjoy the scenery and the birds and enjoy some incredible granite climbing. As you can see, there's just fins right next to each other. So if you're hot and tired of climbing in the sun, you can just step down and get on the shady crag right behind you. And there's just no limit to the routes at Castle Rocks and City of Rocks. One thing that just makes the city so much fun is you can hike for about half an hour to 40 minutes and get deep into the backcountry, or you can climb really closely to the car. And this is just a group of us ladies hiking in with the dog, getting ready to spend the day out climbing. There are definitely some classics in the area. Like I said, the Steinfeld Club put up a bunch of routes in the 50s, and then in the 80s, we started top-down bolting there, which brought about some notoriety to the area, and bolt wars, which I can give you a lot of insight and gossip on those years. But some of the classics, one route which I'm responsible for is my climb that I put up is called City Girls. And then Tribal Boundaries is an amazing old school 510 put up on lead. And then of course, Wheat Thin was probably one of the very first routes put up on Elephant Rock by the Steinfeld Club back in the 50s. And even today at a 5-7, I watch very polished gym climbers come out and lead it, and they're just blown away that something can be so amazing and only be rated 5-7. This is a classic picture of parking lot rock, which is just a stone's throw from your car, and it leads you into the inner city and the parking lot area once you leave this portion of the crag. And this climb, this climb right here is up towards the top of Castle Rocks. I like to do a really cool link up where you get to the top of Castle Rock and wrap down another side of it and climb another multi-pitch to the top. So, you know, you definitely get a lot of climbing in, a lot of bang for your buck when you come to the City of Rocks for this clinic. This is a really cool area up at the upper city at the higher elevation at about 7,000 feet. There's an area there called the Bread Loaves, and this is one of the great classics called 10-ish Anyone. And there's always kind of a fun play on the names at the city as well. One thing that's fun to do is to get up on top of Bath Rock at the end of the day. The cowboys put up an old Via Ferrata with wrought iron, and sometimes after dinner, it's nice to just go get up high and enjoy the sunset after a good day of climbing. And this is a super fun group of ladies after a very cold day in June at the city, and it was definitely a successful 4 days of climbing. The camps that we offer are 2.5-day camps. We include camping with that. You can rent a tent or sleeping kit from us, and these camps do include two catered dinners, and then we just ask you to bring your own breakfast and lunch, but we'll share a group kitchen. And yeah, if you have any questions about that, be sure to ping me and I'll answer. And so, because the City of Rocks is definitely a summer climbing area, these camps won't be starting until June of 2022. I'll hand it over to Maya.
That was great, ladies. Thank you so much, Izzy, Aimee, Jess, and Szu-ting for taking the time to share your knowledge and amazing photos with everyone. I also wanted to thank the Alpinist magazine for helping us present this webinar, and I also want to thank the Mountain Guides and all of our hosts today for putting this on. It's so informative and really awesome. So you can see the dates here. These are upcoming dates for this fall, and City of Rocks has the next camp next summer. We also have available dates for next year, spring and summer, for other camps. I hope that you are inspired to join these awesome ladies at one of the camps they have in often here. So now we have some time left for some questions. So let's just go ahead and get started. I'll just leave them open to whoever wants to pop in and answer them. I see that you actually typed the answers in the Q&A section, so we could just repeat them if anybody else actually was wondering the same. So does Moab have easier climbs than 5-9? And is crack climbing rated differently than regular sport climbing?
Want me to answer is? Yeah, Izzy's mic is off. Yeah, so definitely Moab is, what I like to tell people is Moab climbing is like swimming, except for you're learning how to do the butterfly when you come to Moab. So it's very specialized. So know that the climbing really does start at 5-9, and there is not like 5-6 or 5-7 or 5-8 there. So the climbing does start at 5-9, and know that you will be challenged. But once you learn those nuances of crack climbing, you will take that skill set to other areas, and you will be blown away at how you can achieve a rest on a crack. So you have to go in it with a good attitude and know that it's not going to be easy off the bat. And when you leave, you may feel a little beat up, but you will actually be highly rewarded and feel very accomplished. So don't let the grades scare you. And the one thing I'm a firm believer in is if we get you in a good pair of shoes and a good tape glove job, you will achieve your goals there.
Thanks, Aimee. Just a second. I will stop sharing your screen.
Oh, thank you.
So everybody can see us. Next question. Are you doing top rope or lead? Maybe you can also explain how a person is introduced to the lead climbing.
I feel like the basic classes are all top rope, but anybody who's in a advanced class can move into lead climbing. We have lead form amendments on site. So if you want to learn to lead and that's where the clinic's going, then we can do some leading. But that is that's in the advanced program.
And one question also that's probably connected to this one is, do we need to test out for the advanced camps?
I just vetted everyone and kind of went over their resumes with them to see where they were. And that really was efficient enough.
So it's basically self-assessment.
Yeah, and then I'm happy to talk to anybody going into any of the camps and see what their resume is and try to place them best for their abilities.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever feel like, oh, I don't know whether I'm like it's suitable for me, just reach out for us. Yeah, we'll answer. Yeah.
Yes, so whoever wants to be connected with one of the hosts here, just shoot us an email and we'll be happy to connect you directly for all the additional questions you have about rock climbing and the camps. Okay, we can go next. What preparation do you recommend before coming to a basic level camp?
What?
Preparation.
Oh,
So how a person should prepare before attending the camp, the beginner's camp?
I always say general level of fitness, for depending on which area you're climbing to, the approaches can be anywhere from 5 minutes to, like, if you're climbing something more adventurous in Moab or Red Rock, those approaches can be an hour plus. And so really it's like the fitness to get yourself to the climb so you can enjoy it. And then for those beginner courses, I think having some indoor climbing experience can be helpful, but there's not an expectation that you're coming to this camp as an expert climber. You're coming to the basic camp to learn climbing movement, things like that. But if you can come with some experience, that's helpful.
Okay, and another question, very similar, is how a person should know if they're advanced climber, if they're ready for the advanced camp. So what is the minimal actually necessary for a person to join the advanced camp?
they should have some belay skills and definitely some time, outside climbing.
Okay. I'm just checking if we actually missed a question. Yes. What age range are most participants, and how large are the groups?
18 and older. But last year at the City of Rocks, we had some mother-daughter teams show up because they were underage, which was really fun. And our ratios run 1 to 4. And if you're doing a multi-pitch, those run 1 to 2.
So camps have 2 guides with 8 participants, right? The ratio guide per participant is 4 to 1. Okay, and one more question related to my previous one. So for an advanced course, what grade a person should be climbing, like the minimum grade for them? Is it like something you need to like focus or?
No, I don't think you need to have like, I don't think the grade means as much as like knowing how to belay, knowing how to rappel, being able to walk to the base of the climb. I mean, it's not your first time out climbing. And we're going to try to put up harder routes so you can increase your ability level and the grade that you're climbing. So it's more important to have good partner skills to be in that advanced class than being a 512 climber.
Thanks, Aimee. And I believe this is the last question. Do you need to know how to tread climbing to attend?
We're going to teach you.
Okay, if that's all, if you have any other questions, you can pop them to the chat. But if that's all, I believe we can wrap this up. So thank you so much to everyone who participated today. I hope you had a good time listening to Izzy, Aimee, Jess, and Szu-ting. Thank you to Alpinists and the mountain guides. And of course, thanks to our hosts and everybody who joined today. So there are still some spots left for the climbing cabs that are mentioned today. I'll drop the link once more in the chat to take you directly to those pages. So if you missed it, but if you want more details on that, if you want us to connect you directly with ladies, you can just shoot us an email on info@57hours.com. If that's easier for you, we'll be happy to connect you. I just wanted to mention also that last time we had this webinar, these spots really tend to go quickly. And if anybody's interested, you can secure a spot at 57 hours or send us an email for additional information that you need. So this webinar was recorded. You will get the recording tomorrow via email. And ladies, any last words for our attendees?
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you for coming. I hope to see you in Red Rock.
Thanks, everyone. Get outside and enjoy some fresh air.
Thank you all. We're excited to climb with you soon.
Well, that's it. And have a great rest of your day. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.